right, we are at 4 o'clock.
All right. I'm going to start with our land acknowledgement. We meet today on settled indigenous land, which is the traditional territory of the Chinookan peoples of the Wasco, Wishram, Warm Springs, and Grand Ron tribes. Let us honor this land and its traditional native stewards, past, present, and future, and strive today to embody a commitment to cultural equity and reconciliation, ecological conservation, and sustainability. I hereby call this meeting to order at 4 o'clock. Tia, can you take roll call?
Yes. Greg, Chair.
Here.
Megan, Vice Chair.
Here.
Tamara, Secretary. Jim. Elazar. Gisela.
Here.
And Matt.
Here.
Hi, Jim.
I missed my opening cue.
Just now doing roll call. Jim?
Here, sort of, most of them. Maybe.
All right, so
yeah.
minutes for the April 16th regular monthly board meeting were included in your packet. Are there any changes that board members would like to make? I will.
Well, I guess I'm not sure this is the right time. Tell me, but if the pool pass, should we be working with the pool to see? I mean, if they're going to be having construction, I mean, would we be able to get some kind of a? I assume they're going to miss a season for somebody when they start tearing it down. It'd be nice if Cat could, like, I don't know, get people, or is there stops in the Dalles? I don't know. It's just throwing it out there. And I'd like to volunteer Matt to head up that program, because he's got a kid on the water polo team. And I know it. Is he here? Is he up there?
He is.
Oh, yeah.
I think we can add it to the discussion items.
Okay. Hey, was that the right time to bring that up or not? Or is he?
I think it works there.
Okay, all right.
Well, in that case, I would move to approve the minutes from last meeting.
Thank you, Matt. Do I have a second?
I second.
All right, any discussion?
Oh, sorry. Just because we did add it. Well, I guess we'll bring it up again to just around during the board discussion items, Jim.
Okay.
Since we're not necessarily officially adding it to the agenda.
Okay.
Sorry, Megan, go ahead, and I had to process that. Go ahead and.
Any discussion on the motion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, chair votes aye. Motion passes, or the minutes are approved. Now is the opportunity to make public comment regarding a discussion item that is not on the agenda today. Is there anyone that would like to make a public comment? I cannot see if we have any visitors.
There are no public in the room, and there is no public on the on Zoom.
Okay. All right, so we're on to our monthly accounting report. So Tia.
Okay. Included in your materials were the financial reports from April. Did anybody have any questions about anything in those reports? No. Also included in the materials was the grant tracker for this year. After reviewing that, I did want to note that since last week, the records show that for Tamara joined as well. Since last week, we have received several of these outstanding, well, not outstanding, but Q3 reimbursements have been received. There's a couple, the FLAP, I'm still working on my credentials to be able to apply for the reimbursement for that, but that will be coming soon. Were there any questions on the grant tracker? All right. The next thing that I wanted to inform you guys was, there's a memo for the fuel cost increase that we have been seeing. The purpose of the memo was to inform the board of the sharp increase in fuel costs due to the war in Iran and disruption of the world fuel supply. Fuel prices have risen steadily over the last few months. The impact on CAT is seen in the April financial report. Staff have collected data to show the increase of fuel costs since January and of the fuel use when additional service hours are added. No action is required of the board at this time. I just wanted to provide the information. Carson is our vendor that we utilize for fuel. They do bill us on the 1st and 15th for the previous month. So that's why the May charges for April, we have that data now, so we're able to include that. Were there any questions after reviewing that anybody has?
Yeah, I mean, I was just curious if we're going to be amending our budget amount for 26-27.
So for this next year. Yes, Amy and I have looked at that and we have increased it from our initial.
Yeah, so originally, since the one that that the budget committee has seen, it's the same, but we essentially doubled it. So it's, it should be, well, we doubled it and compared with what our expense was for this year. So I think it's a fairly conservative budget for the next fiscal year, but it doesn't hurt to take a look at it again at the next budget committee meeting, which is next week.
And for this fiscal year, so far we're watching it closely, but we should still maintain within budget.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
Yeah, very, very happy about that.
Yep.
Well, and we had done that, and deliberately we had given a little bit extra buffer, and I'm glad we did.
Yes. Any more questions on the fuel increase? Okay, the next item on the agenda is the accountant update. Emily Bechtold, who was, you guys know, attending on behalf of Marina and Co. They've made internal changes. She was a consultant and they have moved in a different direction and are using in-house employees and no longer needed a consultant. So we have a change with Marina, and a new employee by the name of Matt Aitken is the one who is assisting us for the time being. He did say that there may be another staff member that will move into that or work alongside him as we move further. But Emily will no longer be representing Marina here.
And that was a change that we were just alerted of, I think, last week. We have worked with Matt before, meaning he was kind of the person that helped onboard us. And we have made the request that we get a single point of contact.
Well,
Any
I'll miss
questions?
Emily. She was
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay, that's all I have.
All right, we are on to resolution and action items, which is also Tia.
Included in your materials was a memo for the final grant application submission approval. The purpose of this memo is ODOT had recently released funding opportunities for 5310 and 5311 formula funding, as well as competitive transit grants. Staff has submitted the initial grant applications for the funding opportunities and are requesting that the board review and approve staff to submit the final grant applications. Per our financial management policy, staff seeks approval from the board to submit the final applications. The first application that we have submitted the initial one for is the 5310 formula funding. This grant funds part of our mobility management and travel training and preventative maintenance. The total cost for that will be $313,976 with a match of $40,365. The final grant application is due on July 16th, and the period will run from October of 2027 through September of 2029. Are there any questions about the 5310?
Who,
I apologize. I tried to raise my hand there. Do we have a quorum? I'm being asked back in by the attorneys. I apologize. I'm at a federal court case.
Yes, we do have a quorum. Thank you.
Okay, I'll step away. Thank you.
who does the training for us?
Does the what? I'm so sorry.
The training.
The travel training?
Yeah,
Oh, we have a intergovernmental agreement with MCED,
okay.
and Sarah Crook is our travel trainer.
Okay, that's, sorry.
There's
No,
I should have
wonderful.
known
That's a
that.
good question.
I'm just like, oh. Are we able to read through all of these and approve them as one, or do we need to approve each?
We're looking for just approval as one
Okay.
for all of them.
Okay, so I'll let you read on.
Perfect.
I'm
Was
sorry,
Gisela-
Gisela has a,
Oh no, it was just a comment saying that Sarah's wonderful. I've worked with her in the
Okay.
past. Yeah.
Okay,
That's great. The next one is the 5311 formula funding. That program will assist us with sustaining services for the Hood River City route, Upper Valley route, and our demand response services. The total cost for that one is $1,322,315. The expected match is $424,250. Again, this grant application is due July 16th, and the period is the same, October 27 to September of 29. The next one that we are seeking approval for is the Hood River Interregional Transit Hub. This project will fund the Interregional Transit Hub that is going to be regionally significant. It's a rider-facing facility intended to improve coordination, efficiency, and the overall rider experience across the Gorge Regional Transit System. The total cost for that one is $2,416,500 with an expected match of $483,000.
and sorry, just to clarify a little bit, this is for a specific phase of the interregional transit hub for design and engineering and construction. We have other grants to work on NEPA work and potentially part of the engineering and design, depending on how much the NEPA costs us.
This one is due June 15th, and the grant period is July 2027 to June of 2031. Then we have a project for sustaining local fixed route and demand response service in Hood River County. This one sustains the Hood River City route, Upper Valley route, and our demand response service. The total cost is $500,000 with an expected match of $100,000. This grant application as well is due June 15th with the grant period July 2027 to June 2028.
And sorry, just you might have already noticed, but this grant would cover some of the time period that 5311 does not cover, because ODOT is making a change from doing the fiscal year from July 1 to June 30th to match with the FTA fiscal year, which is October through September. So because they are making that move, that this would be the first, next year it would be the first year that they'd be doing that. So they've allowed for agencies to apply for some discretionary funding to kind of help meet the gap as well. So that is the kind of primary purpose of that one.
The next project is to sustain regional connectivity for the Columbia Gorge Express intercity service. The total cost for this project is $1,428,626, and the expected match is $285,725. Application is due June 15th with the grant period July of 2027 to June of 2028.
And so this is different because this is only for a 1-year time period. This is again, ODOT is making a change for their discretionary grants. So it'll be like, they'll be in the mid-cycle grant. So they allowed us to apply for these grants for 1 year, with knowing that we'll get the opportunity to apply for them again in another year.
The next project is for enhancing Hood River. It'll be for permanent transit infrastructure and safety improvements. The total cost for this project is $116,200 with an expected match of $23,240. This application as well is due on June 15th, and the grant period is July 2027 through June of 2031. After the final grant applications are submitted, ODOT then submits the application from Oregon Transit Agencies to the FTA on our behalf.
For some of those grants are state funding and some are federal funding. So the ones that are federal, that's where the ODOT does it on our behalf.
How soon will we know about the grants? I mean, are they like, if they're supposed to start July 27, they let us know like middle of the year, or?
Typically we learn in the fall.
Okay.
I can look it up real quick, or Frank, if you know it off the top of your mind.
Yeah, we're actually working on that at the moment. I submitted all the stuff from Region 4 North to our support analyst last week, and my understanding is this is supposed to make sure that there's not a gap for those of you who are putting rubber on the road. I don't anticipate that you're going to be left in a lurch. You should know well in advance. We're looking at an effective gap coverage of, like between June 30, 2027 and 9/30/2027. So it's not imminent.
So, but the awards for the grants, will we know in fall or?
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I thought we were talking about gap coverage.
That's really good information too.
It's been a day like that. I have not read that over recently. Give me a second. I'll go reference that while you're discussing your other business, and I'll drop it in the chat.
Perfect. Thanks, Frank.
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple questions about the bus shelter. For our transit master plan, do we have a standard of bike racks at the bus stops or no? Or is that only the hubs?
We have it listed as an amenity for the hubs in the transit master plan. Tim and Tia are currently working on updating our bus stop guide. And I'd have to defer to you guys if we have that.
So that is the part that we are working on right now, in the final phases, is determining what part of the survey and speaking on the amenities for each stop.
Yeah. So that's in progress. But I'm happy to, when we get a little farther along on that, Megan, I'm happy to follow up with you on that, of what we're putting in there.
And same thing, but for real-time bus information?
In the transit master plan, I believe it was hubs. But since we put that out, we have learned a lot more about the challenges and the costs associated with putting real time at each bus stop. So we have moved more towards a model of putting QR codes or making it really easily accessible on our website to see where the real time information is. Of course, right now it's been down a little bit because, it has not worked as intended because of the switching over from Swiftly to our new provider. And then there was some GTFS issues which caused the real time not to work this past month.
It worked for me well yesterday and I was thankful, but I was thinking to myself about the people that don't have phones.
Yes,
So,
I 100. Yep, go ahead.
But anyway, that was like my only two. When I saw the list of amenities for the bus stop, those are the only two things that popped out at me. But otherwise, Anybody have any other questions about the grants?
Yeah, just a quick one. I just wanted to ask that are all these expected matches? This is all included in our next year budget. I'm assuming there's no surprises relative to what we've already put out.
No, and this would all be for the match for not the next fiscal year, but the fiscal years after that. And some of these are, they would impact the budget for a 2-year basis. Some of them are for only a 1-year basis. And then one, the really high dollar one, the Hood River Interregional Transit Hub, that one has a 5-year span. So that match would be spread over that amount of time.
Gotcha. Okay, so because they all start in 2027, none of those matches will be due until the 27-28 budget cycle.
Correct.
Got you. Okay, thank you for clarifying.
And these are all also, except for the interregional transit hub match and we added that extra discretionary one for local fixed route and demand response and the permanent transit infrastructure and safety improvements. If you remove those, all the other ones are our typical matches that we pay every year. So they're not increasing necessarily exponentially. The Columbia Gorge Express one increases a little bit because that cost increases every year. Sorry, to be more specific, all our services increase on an annual basis, but the Columbia Gorge Express one is discretionary funding, so we apply what we need to do that service. The 5311 and 5310 funding, that is a set amount that we receive based on formulas.
Okay, thank you, Amy.
Yes.
Are there any other questions? So the action required for this is the board should discuss and vote to approve or not approve staff to submit the final grant applications. And the recommendation from staff is that the board approve the submission of these grant applications.
Would anybody like to take the motion?
I move to approve the all grant applications as stated.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Chair votes aye, motion passes. Thank you guys so much for putting all of those applications together. That blows my brain. That's a lot of funding. Okay. I believe we are on to number 7, operations manager report with Jeff.
Okay. Starting off with a 98 on our safety score, which is a slight decrease in our normal track record there, and that's mostly due to our harsh events. We had one driver that was making some harsh turns that was coached, so that is why we saw a small decrease there. Our fixed route OTP is at 94%. DAR OTP is at 96.88%. Just a heads up, I think on the next one we'll see a decrease in that OTP because of what Amy mentioned about us having a disconnect with Trillium and our Swiftly software stopped working in the month of May. So that's just a heads up, or I guess April, stopped working in April. And then.
And again, that was an unforeseen issue that was caused through the GTFS provider that publishes all of that data.
Cool. So vehicle hours driven, 1,311. Vehicle miles was 45,133, and our fuel cost, as Tia mentioned, is going up quite a bit at 54 cents per mile, increasing us to 24,389.89 for the month of April. 3 affordable customer complaints, 1 vehicle incident, and 3 customer incidents. Are there any of those that anyone would like me to review or have any questions on? Okay. Employee of the month, Stephanie Lawrence. Stephanie is one of CAT's newer employees, and she has been a wonderful addition to the driving team. Her cheerful disposition and strong driving skills make a positive impact every day. Stephanie consistently demonstrates professionalism, follows policy, and maintains a safe driving practice. She always brings a smile to the workplace and is open and approachable in conversation, and is always willing to pick up shifts when help is needed.
Stephanie is one of my favorite drivers, and so I just very much support this employee of the month. She's so wonderful. So thank you guys.
Yeah, thanks for that additional feedback.
Just
Okay.
curious, how did it go with the Cider Fest shuttle?
Oh, great question.
We'll cover it in my report. I've got all the details for you.
Sounds good.
But it's a really good question.
Okay. Amy's gonna cover it. So we're gonna do a ridership report. I think the biggest thing to notice in the ridership report was with the Dog Mountain. We had a huge increase from last year. At first I thought it was due to us. We started about 2 weekends early, but then I did actually had Becca do a comparison for us so that we could look at just one, the same amount of time frame, compare the same one weekend to the one weekend that we did last year, and we had 770 riders on the last weekend of April versus the 289 of the previous year. So that's quite a big jump for one weekend. And we think a lot of that is due to possible social media blast from what was the name of the company doing that?
It's Gorge. Why can't I think about it?
Gorge
Gorge Pass. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Gorge
I was thinking
Pass,
Gorge
yeah.
Transit,
Yeah.
Gorge Pass. Thank
Yeah,
you.
they hired a social media person.
Then an influencer.
An influencer.
We also started a week earlier, and the wildflowers started blooming a little earlier this year too.
Yeah. With the early weeks, we're at 1,251 riders for that. Other than that, we were down overall on Upper Valley from last year and last month. And our total boardings per hour for the month was about 5.75, which is higher than last year. But again, Dog Mountain is the highlight at about 11 riders per hour. Cool. That concludes my operations report, unless there's any other questions.
My quick question is about the Columbia Gorge Express and the McCord Creek construction. Because I was one of the riders on, and I feel so bad for texting Amy on a Sunday, but I had no idea what was going on. And is there any way to let people know that are waiting at Gateway if there's like longer than like a 10-minute or 20-minute delay? Because the only way for a rider to know is by looking at Google directions and essentially mapping from Cascade Locks to Gateway to see what the delay would be.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we've kind of been, I mean, one thing is the live updates, the map, but that weekend that it wasn't working on that day. And then we've thought about doing text alerts more often, but we're seeing so many delays on that service that we would just be blowing up people's phones every Saturday and Sunday. So we've put a service alert on our website. And I think honestly the best way is to call us. but I'm also open to any ideas if you guys have any suggestions. We've kind of just been struggling with how to do that since it's almost every trip on, especially on weekends.
How late was it for you?
It's like 45 minutes. And so when it was like 10 minutes late, I was like, ooh, something's wrong. And then I looked at the tracker and I was like, oh my God, it's like still near Bonneville Dam. What's going on? And then I looked at Google directions and I saw the deep red line and I was like, oh, it's going to be a while. So I just essentially let all the people waiting for the bus know. And then Annika and I ran to the local gas station to get refreshments because we had so much time to kill. But yeah, it was, I think Google directions is like my secret hack of figuring out exactly how long it's going to be delayed. But yeah, I don't know what else to do either.
The only thing I can think of off the top of my head to do is if we had a specific time to Amy's, I think we'd have to look at like, that's why I asked you how long, like if it was like, we were like over an hour delay for this, then we start sending out the texts. That way we're not sending out, every time we're 30 minutes late for a delay. If we just made like a hard number of
1 hour and then kind of see how that goes.
yeah, either 45 minutes or an hour. I think I'd have to look at what the frequency of us being at 45 minutes late is first.
How much longer is the construction gonna go?
Through July
Okay,
is the current estimate. There are a couple roadblocks that might delay that even more.
okay. Would it help, and I'm gonna refer to you, Megan, but would it help even to have a note, right on the bus as people, get on, either coming from here, somehow just saying, we are experienced delay due to construction. During weekends, we see X number, whatever, 30-minute average up to, please bear with us. Start that kind of communication either on our page or, website or something, just to give a heads up. So it's not like out of the ordinary.
Yeah, we could do that. I mean, there is just a standing service alert or rider alert on our website. And I think, do we have it on the Columbia Gorge Express page as well?
Yes.
Yeah. But I think we could look at that. I think my only concern with adding another sheet like on the bus is just we've got a fair amount of them right now. And it can sometimes, depending on where they're located, you have to be very strategic so you're not actually impeding the driver's vision.
Okay. No, that's fair enough. But I mean, now that we know it's an issue, it's gonna go until July or whenever.
Yeah.
Having something as people are buying a ticket or something, some type of an alert. And apology.
Maybe like a sign at Gateway might be helpful.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, like some type of laminated sign with a QR code to our bus tracker. Like, is the bus late? Here's how you can find out where it is or whatever. Because just people knowing how late it's going to be, they can like walk over to the local taqueria or someplace, or if they have to go to the bathroom really bad, then they have time to go to the bathroom. Otherwise, they're not going to have, it's going to be a terrible bus ride for them.
For the new sign that we put up at Gateway, is there the QR code to the bus tracker on that?
No, it's for buying fares.
Buying fares,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think we can figure something out like that.
Yeah, or don't we have laminated signs for the Multnomah Falls delay or bypass?
Yeah.
And we could just
Well,
those.
and then hopefully we can remove those rider alerts for the potential bypass after this weekend or once the time use permit entry
Sweet.
program gets in place.
Mhm.
So then we could potentially
Switch
do
them
that
out.
instead.
Yeah.
All right, does anybody else have any questions? We are still ahead of schedule. So we're on to Amy's executive director report.
All right, wonderful. Thank you. So first up, Cider Fest update. The intent is to update the board on the outcome of the Cider Fest Public Community Shuttle. There's no action required of the board at this time. As you are all aware, the board approved CAT to operate a CAT community service shuttle on May 2nd that traveled between downtown Hood River and Cider Fest. There were 137 riders and $686 collected in fares. The Cider Fest will cover the remainder of the cost of the service, which was $1,274, and this has been invoiced but not yet received. Most of the riders were individuals from Portland who had learned about the shuttle through Cider Fest digital platforms. While we did not recoup as much of the cost of the service as hoped, we did help ensure intoxicated individuals had a safe ride back to downtown Hood River. And overall, I would say as a pilot project, I believe it was successful with some learns that we can utilize in the future if the board decides to do more of these public community services in the future. And I was there, and there was, one comment where a lady, she had purchased a ticket, but she couldn't access it. And she's like, that's okay, I'll just purchase another one. And she's like, it's so much cheaper than a DUI. So, there was some, and that was good. But I think overall it was nice to have perfect presence and make sure that people had another way home that they could get to and from the event. Any questions on that?
Any downside?
I think the downside is that, for this one specifically, it was kind of a short turnaround for us to do this. And this is not our typical wheelhouse, right? We don't do these type of community service and events. We do long-term services.
It's like the same amount of work to do a 1 day of service as it is to write like the service for multiple days.
Yeah. So I think it definitely took some resources to do from Jeff and his team, and then Tim and Tia for communications.
Is that all included in the overall cost of it?
Yeah, it is. Okay. But it just is an extra lift when there's also
everything else going on.
Yeah. But I also think, there's, yeah.
Is there any feedback on the attendance of the Cider Fest overall?
So I can give you some anecdotal. I haven't gotten official numbers from them. Anecdotally, when I was there, I thought it was really interesting because usually when I go to those type of events, I see a lot of people I know. Mm-hmm. I did not see a lot of people I knew. It seemed like more of the folks that were there were out of towners. But again, completely anecdotal. So that was interesting to me. I think the other thing that was interesting and kind of sad to me was just it was mostly out of towners who used the shuttle. So it wasn't necessarily locals who were utilizing. And that could be because of the stops. That could be because they had folks who, there was somebody who could be the DD, and they did carpooling or they bicycled. I saw a lot of the folks that I did see, they were on bicycles. So I think I think that was just kind of interesting observations.
Thank you.
Any other questions on that? Okay. Next is fiscal year 2023, section 5339B discretionary grant update. The intent is to update the board on the most recent information regarding the district's discretionary grant from 2023, section 5339B. There is no action required of the board at this time. For the last board meeting, staff has submitted a scope change request for this grant that was awarded to the district for $6.4 million to redevelop the current park and ride into a bus barn and maintenance facility. The scope change request will remove the electric vehicles and electric charging infrastructure from the grant award. Staff has not yet been notified if the scope change request was approved, but we have learned that the request is moving along in the process with no estimated decision date. Any questions on that one? So the third item the potential bypass of Multnomah Falls, as I alerted everyone. So I just want to update the board on the recent decision that I made to post a rider alert notifying the public that we may bypass the Multnomah Falls bus stop if the gates are closed at the eastbound exit 31 entrance, and if cars are backed up on the freeway on the westbound entrance. There is no action required of the board at the time. I made this decision because I was alerted a couple weeks ago by our drivers that due to congestion at the Multnomah Falls parking lot, cars were backing up onto the I-84 westbound entrance. And I actually went in, they gave me approval to look in at their cameras at that time. So I was able to actually see the backups, and frankly, it was scary. And I did not want to put our employees or our riders in that severe safety situation. So I made this decision to authorize employees to bypass the parking lot if both of those criteria were met. And yeah, sorry. And then staff created a rider alert, which was picked up by a couple local news organizations who highlighted the issue. Since this initial safety concern arose, we've only had to bypass the Multnomah Falls parking lot once, and to my knowledge, no riders were impacted. We are expecting to remove the rider alert from our website and buses after the timed use entry program at Multnomah Falls has been implemented, which gets implemented this Friday, as that program has shown to be very effective in mitigating those concerns. Any questions? Okay. All right. So the next one is a sad one. So we will have a board position opening. Ms. Tamara Taylor has taken an exciting opportunity that requires her to move out of Oregon or Hood River County. And so she is going to be resigning from the board. The board will need to appoint a new board member. The appointee will then need to run for the seat at the next election if they choose to do so. So Tamara, I'm sorry, was your last meeting today or is it the next one?
I will be, I think I'll be able to make it to the next one. I will still have residency till the end of June. I'll be moving and traveling back and forth.
Okay.
So I think it's still adequate that I can attend the next meeting.
All right, wonderful. So we will be advertising the open position through social media and public notice through the Columbia Gorge News. Anyone who is interested should contact me to fill out an application. And once we have received applications, we will bring it to the board for discussion. So the impact, so the loss of Tamara will mean a couple of things. Well, we will need to elect a new treasurer, which we do in July anyways. But the other piece is our margins for quorum will be a little bit thinner than normal. And since the June meeting will have the budget hearing, and since we'll still have use, we should be good with that one, but just something to kind of be aware of. So if you can't attend, totally understand. I get it, life happens, but if you could just please let me and Tia know. And probably best moving forward to make sure that Tia and I are both on that. That would be wonderful. Any questions on that?
We'll miss you, Tamara.
I will miss this too. It was part of my decision was giving up the board seat. But like I told Amy, I said, hopefully there is something in transportation that I can find in I'm moving across the river into Klickitat County. So I don't know. But I found this, so hopefully I can find something or even be special consultant for something for the board here. I'm open to that.
I'm sure Kathy Fitzpatrick could find you something to do over there.
I think
Yeah.
so too.
Okay, I will,
I can connect you with her.
thank you.
Yes. All right, wonderful. A work plan update. So just wanted to share with the board the updated work plan that was included in everybody's board materials. There's no action required of the board at this time. We have made significant progress on large projects. We will be removing completed projects and updating the work plan to reflect work anticipated for the next 6 months at the July board meeting. I think some big ones is we are still in some negotiations, but we have selected a consultant for the CAT Transit facility development program. So that's really exciting, and it's been a long project. We have put down the thermoplastics at the 18th of May bus stop that says that bicyclists should yield to bus. So that was also wonderful, and we really appreciate the City of Hood River for their help in that. And thank you, Megan, for all your help discussing how that should look. We have completed the employee surveys, and we'll discuss that in my next item. And yes, is there any questions on that? Okay.
I want to say congratulations. Completed. It's looking through there, completed, like, wow, good job.
Yes, and once the negotiations have been finalized and the contract is ready for your guys' approval, we're hoping to bring the contract for the consultant for the facility site developments at the June meeting. It might be July, but we're hoping to push it to the June meeting. Okay, and so then the next one was the employee survey executive summary. The intent is to share with the board the executive summary from the employee survey that was completed this past year. There's no action required of the board at this time. The executive summary was included in your board materials and has also been dispersed to the employees. This year, what we're going to do, since we have the work plan process in place, we're going to be placing, well, several of the issues that were highlighted have already been addressed, such as the cleaning items at the need of some to work on that process. We have done that. But some additional long-term action items we're going to be including in the work plan, the new one that we will release in July. Any questions? All right. That concludes my executive director report. Thank you.
Wow, we are way ahead. All right, so we're on to discussion items. And the first one is the office staff COLA, and I believe the second one would be what Jim brought up, which is what, transit service for the pool?
Just long term, I mean, should I say something now or what?
Let's do the office staff
Okay,
COLA
yeah,
one first,
okay.
and then we can jump into
Just
that
pull
one.
my string, I'll talk.
Okay. All right, so I did include a memo just to kind of frame the discussion just a little bit, but then I'll let Jim and Matt discuss a little further. So we held the first budget committee meeting on April 22nd and presented the cost of living adjustment or COLA proposal for the office staff. Following the discussion, 2 board members in attendance requested that this item be brought before the full board of directors to provide an opportunity for additional discussion. At the April 22nd meeting, staff recommended a 2.5% COLA increase for office personnel. While this is slightly below the current Social Security COLA benchmark of 2.8%, it is designed to balance the rising inflation costs with the district's fiscal realities. The rationale behind recommending the 2.5% instead of the 2.8%, relied on a couple of things, just internal equity. Drivers are scheduled to receive a 2.5% COLA, and this cannot be adjusted until the next round of union negotiations slated for 2028. But also there's just long-term sustainable funding concerns. So it's just, we're trying to be conservative with budgeting. So the Budget Committee generally concurred with this recommendation, combined with the annual performance board or performance-based step, which is 2.5%. So office employees, eligible ones, will receive a total of a 5% increase this year. And then I included in the memo just the salary scale and cost of living adjustment policies. So there is a base rate for the positions, and then the budget committee each year has the ability to determine the COLA to take effect at the start of the next fiscal year, dependent on funding. So from that, I'll let Jim and Matt discuss a little more. Is there anything else missing from that memo?
Nope.
Was that fairly comprehensive? I did do just a quick, if we were to do the 2.8% instead of the 2.5%, it is it's fairly minimal. It's just a $2,000 increase in the budget. But the general ask is for you guys to discuss, and you can choose a couple of different paths. I gave you a couple of suggestions in the memo. You can uphold the budget committee's recommendation of a 2.5% COLA increase for fiscal year 27, or you can ask staff to model and present the budgetary impacts of a 2.8% COLA increase for the budget committee's consideration. Yes, Matt.
Yeah, so just to clarify, so you're saying eligible employees to receive the additional 2.5% step increase. Is everybody basically eligible this year? I mean, is this it's like sort of foregone, or?
Yeah, so it's based on performance.
Okay. So unless you're at step 7, you're eligible with a good manager review, basically.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Well, and even, so that's for the performance. And then everybody is eligible for that 2.5% COLA. Yeah.
I mean, I've had probably a little change of heart since the budget committee meeting. I mean, I feel like, especially since it's $2,000 or $3,000, that I don't know. I mean, unions win these things sometimes they don't. So I think I initially voiced some concern about the optics of non-union staff earning a larger COLA, but I'm not quite as concerned about that anymore. I don't know. It'd be good to get feedback from the other board members, I suppose, on how they feel about it.
Well, unless you go through the union contract, I assume they picked it up someplace else, benefit. I mean, I just think that employees should always get the cost of living adjustment. I mean, I can't go through what benefits the union had. I'm sure they've run through that game before. I mean, that's their job, not mine, right? That's the union contract to figure that out.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jim.
Yeah, I think the bigger thing to think about too is just again, it's a small amount of money, but there is some long-term funding concerns out there. So just a thing to think about.
What are you comfortable with?
I mean, really, this is a board decision because this does also.
It affects you.
It affects me,
Right.
so like it's kind of a conflict of interest.
There may be a conflict of interest, but you presented it. I mean, I can see. I have two minds like everybody else. I look at the fact that you're very tight knit within this organization and showing that continuity where we all would like more money, but everybody gets the same Cause that's always something that's a sticking point where the privileged white people get treated better than the peons, so to speak, okay? But I also have that deal where the union usually takes very good care of themselves and would not make negotiations without the best interest of their team. And I want you guys to stick around because costs are going crazy right now.
But we're not giving them, it's not a bonus, it's treading
Right.
water.
Right. But so that's why it's like, would this cause contention within the ranks?
Potentially.
Okay.
Could I possibly hear Tia and Jeff's opinion on that? I mean, what's the vibe?
Still the union's job.
No,
Yeah.
I hear you. And we're talking about a de minimis amount of money here. For me, it's like
Right. I think the amount of money, to Amy's point, is different than the optics of like, also to Tamara's point of being tight knit with our driver team, right? And if uh I don't think it's gonna, knowing the team that we have, I don't think it's going to, I guess I don't know. I guess I feel like I don't think people will make that big of a deal out of it. Right, because also to your point of it not being that much money doesn't, like, it doesn't matter either direction. Like, is it that big of, is it worth that increase to possibly risk having a separation, a separation between the drivers and the office team, instead of feeling more like we're on an equal playing field? Like, is that amount of money worth it to take that risk and causing a disrupting the cohesiveness and like the overall morale that we built over the years? I don't know. I think I'd have to think about it. This is the first that this has been like presented to me. So that I heard about it. So I think it would require. So yeah, I guess I'm stuck in the middle too. I think it could go either way, really. Sorry, that wasn't concrete, but
no. I really appreciate your insight. So I mean, in theory, I know union negotiations won't be for another year and a half plus, but I mean, I guess in theory it can help future union negotiations as well. Keep those sort of colas down.
I know there's a reason, but I'm shocked the union didn't do a cost of living increase. Why didn't they?
Well, they do have a cost of living increase.
But
It's just
not
at
the same.
it's at the 2.5.
Right.
It doesn't have a fluctuation of matching the social security. And I think the reasoning behind that is because it can,
Go up and down.
like, right, you're talking like a couple $100 on a paycheck over.
well, so overall for
Or,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 employees, it's a 2,000 difference, a roughly $2,000-ish difference
for a year.
for a year.
And why are we proposing this? Why just
So this was brought up at the budget committee,
Okay.
Where we made a specific proposal of 2.5% increase. And our board of directors who were at that wanted to have a further discussion with the board.
about increasing it? I guess why did we decide to do the 2.8, or like what?
So the policy is that this is all a stated policy that was approved by the board 1 or 2 years ago.
Okay.
And the policy was to In addition to the annual step increase shown in the salary scale, each year the budget committee determines the cost of living adjustment to take effect at the start of the new fiscal year. And the COLA may range from 0% to a maximum of 5%, depending on budget capacity. When funding permits, the district aims to align its COLA with the Social Security COLA, which was 2.8%.
Understood.
Sorry, any additional questions?
Well, it's like next year, it's like giving you a $2,000 cut in your pay. I mean, that's how you look at it. And I don't know, I feel like everybody, if you're working, you should always be, your job, if possible, it's built in that you should get cost of living matching it. Like I said, I think that's the union's job. If they're 0 to 2.5, they should, I don't know. It's hard to give these guys a raise. Or a cost of living. I mean, you're gonna have 2,000, what we're predicting here is you're gonna have $2,000 less spending impact next year if you don't.
But it's not per person, it's a
Right.
total.
Right.
Over 5, well, sorry, it's 8 employees. So that's what, a little less than $250 per employee
Per year.
per year.
Right, yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty small. I think the policy should always be a cost of living.
I think what I'm hearing from you, it's more the, uh, sorry, the principle of the matter.
Right.
Of ensuring that employees get that it's meeting with the COLA.
It seems like we're like pretty on the fence just as a board with this. Does it just make sense to kick it back to the budget committee and let them make the final recommendation with passing a budget and go from there?
Yeah, well, and ultimately, it is their decision for the policy of if they want to include that in the budget or not. So I think that's something for the board to just kind of be aware of, to be cognizant of the budget committee and the citizen members that are part of that committee. So I think what I'm hearing, it doesn't maybe hurt for when we're meeting with them at the next meeting, we can do 2 budgets to show that.
Yeah, I didn't even cause so much conflict. It is principle. I mean, for me, right? For me, it is. Right?
I appreciate that principle, that
Right.
principle. And I think all employees do, right? I think people like to be heard that they're being fought for. But I think just the reason why I wanted to just take myself out of this is just, I think it needs to be a board decision.
Mhm.
So it sounds like what Tia and I will do is we'll update the budget documents to show the difference, and then it can be a discussion at the next budget. Megan and Lisa, is there anything that you guys would like to add?
No, I was just mainly listening. I mean, I'm just gonna say I'm biased already. I'm always for, any type of increase, any COLA increase, especially if you're wanting to, keep your employees, right? I mean, that is just like a benefit. I know for myself as well, I'm union represented, and I just love the fact that like my union is fighting for me as well. I am just trying to just see it from both perspectives as well. I do hear, the concerns for the budget constraints as well as, we're in a time where fuel costs are still increasing and it's I guess it's very difficult to predict really our budget. And so I lean towards seeing what the budget committee has to say. But yeah, I really, really appreciate everyone's thoughts. It's just, yeah, it's something I definitely need to sit with as well.
Yeah,
Anything?
no, just as far as I also agree with cost of living increases, but I would default to the budget committee's recommendation.
All All right, sounds good. Well, I think we have our direction, so that will help us. So I appreciate that and appreciate having this conversation because I know it's not always an easy conversation. All right. Jim, would you like to just
So just long-term, and Matt, you probably know more than I do. I mean, the pool passed, so it's gonna shut down. And it'd be nice if somebody talked to Mark and figured out if there's anything we can do that, or it's on our standard route or whatever. That's all.
Okay.
I mean, this is less than 12 hours happened ago, right? Or,
Yeah.
you know, 14 hours ago.
Well, I can bring it up the next time I see him. And just put it out there if there's any way that we can collaborate without edging on the
Right.
charter rules.
It's not supposed to be impacting either you or anybody. It's supposed to be a win-win, and, you know, it's not like, I don't vision it like a cider fest. It's just, if it closes down for a summer, you know, if there's some way we could get the kids to the Dallas pool and make a deal with Scott Baker, or, you know, that's Mark's job. That's why I volunteer Matt to work on that one-person committee.
Well,
Backing that cat bus back up over me there, Jim.
You put me on the budget committee, this is payback.
well, and I think there could be some, you know, opportunity there for the just making sure that kids who especially go to some of the public schools here, the middle and high school, know that they have access to the bus pass and they can use
Right.
our services.
Is there a
And
bus stop right near the pool in Dallas?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only thing I would say.
Yeah.
Matt, do you know their construction plans? No? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still not even clear that they're shutting down. Like, are they?
Oh, yeah, you can't, I mean, they're replacing the pool because they're changing the depths and everything.
So it's on site. They're tearing it out and redoing it on the same
Right, so
site.
you can't swim in it when they're tearing it out.
Right. Okay. I was just discussing this with somebody today, and we weren't sure if it meant that they were tearing out the tennis courts or something. I mean, I know that was part of the original proposal back in the day.
Right.
So yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
the pools are changing. They're actually changing. They're gonna be new concrete pools, so they're gonna miss somebody's season.
My understanding was gonna be the winter season. I'm not sure if it was this year or if it was like this upcoming winter or the winter after that. But my understanding it would be completely shutting down during the winter season.
So it's always great doing construction on a pool in the middle of winter, right?
I might be wrong on that, but that was my original understanding. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
So
I mean, that was my only thing I would just want to bring up, because Matt, you got a kid at the pool all the time, so you're not gonna ask more. You got
Two of them. One
Okay,
works
there you
there, and they both play water polo. So yeah, no, I should probably know more. Sorry.
Yeah, so I'm happy to check in with Mark the next time I see him.
Make him do that. Make Matt do that.
All right. Okay, any other board discussion topics?
No, so we're on to upcoming events now.
And that is the budget committee meeting, which is next Wednesday. At
Is that it?
5 p.m. And I believe that's it, yes. Sorry, I'm scrolling back up to my agenda.
So that's me again.
Uh,
Once I'm on it, I'm on it.
So that was actually, I had a question, so and we need to confirm with Greg to see, I believe you'd be on it for the next one as well.
Oh, man. Yeah.
It's a 5-year commitment.
Was it a 5-year commitment on the budget?
Oh, come on, Jim. It's like the lowest lift budget there ever was.
Thing you didn't drive here today. Stick to the crosswalks.
All right, Megan, I think it's back to you.
All right. I believe we are at adjournment time. If anybody has a motion.
Move
So
to
moved.
adjourn. All right, second.
Discussion, all in favor?
I
Chair votes aye. We are adjourned at 5:09.
Thank you for letting me crash your party. I'll see you next time.
Yep,
Thank
thank you,
you.
Megan.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Good night.